Hey guys, my name is Seniac and welcome back to another City Skyline experimental video. Facecam, hello, how you doing? It's not often to do facecam. I like to pop up every so often just to remind you guys that, I'm still here, I'm not dead. Hey, how you doing? But today we're doing an experiment. I'm trying to find out what is the preferred mode of transport for the residents in a city. Now, this experiment is a little bit difficult to try and do because you have to try and make it as even and as fair as possible. And this experiment, I'm going to mainly focus it on 4 types of public transport. We'll do buses, we'll do trams, we'll do the metro, and we'll do trains. We'll just base off those 4 kind of to begin with. If you want to see like another future updated video where I do every single one of them, then let me know in the comment section down below. So how this experiment needs to work is we basically need to create, and I've kind of done it right now, it's like you can kind of see it a little bit right now, as you can see there, is I need to make everybody live within the same distance to a form of public transport that takes them to commercial and industrial areas. It gets a little bit tricky because you got to make sure that one of the kind of transport modes doesn't have more residents than another, and that everybody can walk to an equal distance to said one. Gets a little bit tricky. It does get a little bit tricky. So I'll explain exactly what I've done. I'll explain exactly how this is going to work before I say this. Guys, if you do enjoy these pointless experiment videos on the channel, then please make sure you smash that like button down below. If you are new right here, then make sure you do subscribe so you're notified when that next episode does come out. But I love on this channel just randomly popping up and doing a face cam video, because I love seeing the comments going, oh, that's what he looks like. Because a lot of people don't realize this is my second channel, Seniac 2, and a lot of people don't realize that. They think that is just the name. I do have a main channel, and so people who don't realize about the main channel, they go, oh, that's what he looks like. Or another popular comment is, your voice doesn't go to your face. That's another comment I get as well. It's quite hilarious. But anyway, let's get into this. So, think about it like this. Each of these sticky out road sections there is going to contain the station. I'm going to call them stations. The station for a public transport system, which will then take us over to the secondary station, which is over here for the commercial industrial area. Obviously, this is residential. Now, brain thinking, right? You got to think, right, all these little squares here are going to be residential. Now, if you got, say, this one here, it's then surrounded by 6. This one is surrounded by 6. Now, there is a slight overlap between each one. And you got to think, so these 6 here do have the ability to go to that one. But these 2 here share the ability to go to this one and this one. All right, and I was trying to think, right, in a way that I can create it where not one mode is more dominant than the other, because there's nothing stopping somebody who lives here walking down to this one. And you're thinking, well, then do you need to put more people here? No, because somebody who lives, say, here, there's nothing wrong with them walking down or living here to get to there. So there's no difference. The only difference is you live here, you might not want to walk all the way down to here, and vice versa. But then again, it works for the same, like people who live here or there. They're not going to walk all the way over there. So technically, roughly, give or take a few population people, whatever, everyone kind of has the same demand and needs for the people around it. There's not one singular one that is too overpowered, kind of thing. You could argue maybe the middle, because they get a full range, but people over here probably won't want to walk down to there because they'll probably go to this one at most. Thus, it cuts off them there, and for these, it cuts off a bit earlier, but they gain. There's a lot of math involved. It makes it a little bit confusing, but that is literally how it's all going to get set up. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to zone residential here, right? And we need to make sure, I'll quickly pause it. We've got all water and stuff like that. This is the one thing I kind of forgot when doing this. So get the water down, right? We'll also get hooked up as well, the water on this side. There we go, there we go, there we go. Bring that straight over. Get some beautiful little water towers down right now. It's probably more than I need entirely. Power. Now, let's just go. Shall I just go slow wind turbine this bad boy? Let's wind turbine all of this. Bam, bam, bam. Just for the funsies. Just for the funsies, we'll wind turbine it. There we go. And that is then all we're going to eventually need. So on this side then, we'll now get set up. And because they're not going to be educated, we have to do low density. So do low density commercial in this little section here. Low density commercial over here. We'll do low density, well, the only density we can do, dirty industrial. Oh, I forgot about these little sections too. So each one's got a dedicated little pocket there of residents. And let that naturally build up. Now we have a road between the two, so they can drive if they want to. I'm not going to isolate them because we get other issues. You know, cities die out when services can't get to where they need to get to, all that kind of jazz. And pretty much, there we go. What I also will do as well, I don't think there is like a defined set piece there. Yeah, actually there is. So if I do a 70 by 70, which, is that 70? No. Is that 70? Right, that's 70 there. I'm going to come up by 10. And what we're going to do, we're going to do a nice little road that goes around like this. And this will be our services road, where we place down all of our... Oh, I haven't done sewage. That's one thing I haven't done yet. Hold on. Actually, I can place it over here. So this is going to contain all the stuff that, like, our policing, our garbage disposal, all that kind of jazz. So I'm giving this city the best opportunity to survive, thrive, and to fully test out this experiment. So they've got sewage now up and running over there. We'll set up now. We'll do the hospital there. I'm going to go a little bit over top of the services, because we have unlimited money on right now, so I can do that. Just to make everyone thrive. So the only thing I need to worry about is getting people to and from the area. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. So we got policing. We got fire. We need crematoriums, of course. And then we need garbage disposal. So I'm going to go for a couple of incineration plants right now. There we go. Not sure if that's going to be enough or not, but ta-da! So, we now fast forward. We get this place all rocking and rolling. What I should have enabled was the super demand mod. That would have been a really sweet way to make sure that everything got built pretty quick. So, it's a shame we didn't get that in, but it's still okay. It's still okay. And to kind of spark a little bit more need for people wanting to get to these areas, why don't I build some education on this then? So if I put education on there and on there, on the middle bits there, so it's kind of not really equal distance, but then we put a high school on that side and then on that side, and then we smack bang in the middle a university. So the education system is on the opposite side as well. So it throws up all the demands for people wanting to get to where they want to get to. So, we'll just give this a little minute or two now to simulate through, get everybody moving in, and if any little issues pop up here and there, we can get them sorted before we then go deep in to this experiment. So, with the power of technology, and your boy doing some video editing, you ready? Yeah! Bam! We're back. See, that was so seamless, you didn't even notice. Yeah, right, Seniac, that was the worst transition I've ever seen in my life. Anyway, some time has now passed. Everyone's now living the dream right now. Everyone's living the dream. I'm surprised with how terrible these connections are right now. We haven't got more traffic issues than what we have. I mean, we've only got 2,500 people living here, so not really going to be much demand for 4 modes of public transportation. But we're going to get set up what we can get set up, and we're going to see what's going down. So, I also have to think about as well. Actually, I've got an actual trick up my sleeve to get more people to get on the public transport system, but I'll tell you about that a little bit later. We need to make sure that we don't make the routes that we now create to these areas. We don't make one of them shorter than the other. Like, you know, the metro is a straight line, but then the train line has to bend, which means the metro is a short distance, so they might favour the metro more than anything else. And breathe. That's kind of what we need to understand. So what we're going to do is we're going to pause it right now. So we build all of this while being paused. And we're going to passenger train line. So passenger train line, and we try and get it as centralized as possible. Oh, there we go. One there. And then one there-ish. So it's all now going to be based off the length of how we create the train line. So it doesn't matter if the train line is bigger than the metro building. It doesn't matter about that. Because they walk in and then they get to the station or the platform or onto the vehicle or whatever it may be. It's then the distance from station to station, the same way I do the metro line, the trams and the buses. The distance from point A to point B needs to kind of be the same. It's only based off this because this is the biggest building out of everything. So what we do is I'm going to do a simple 10 by 10 bend, right? So 10 by 10 there. If I do the same here, 10 by 10 bend, and then straight across. That was a 50 and a 10 by 10. I mean, can you really class that as being... I mean, what would you class that as being? 10 by 10? Well, it's obviously 20, isn't it? So 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 is what we've kind of got up and running there. And we'll set up right now a little back and forth little loop there for the trains. Right. Metro. Same kind of setup. Right, one there, one there. So the metro needs to do the exact same thing. Be a 10 by 10. So 10 by 10. What's with all the lag today? There seems to be a little bit of lag line around. 10 by 10. And then connect up. So that is now technically, in terms of traveling distance, the same. I couldn't have got it any more easier. Now you could argue that slightly sticks out a little bit further, blah, 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 blah. But, you know, there was going to be a little bit of a hiccup here, there, and everywhere. Because then the next argument could be, even if I got those distances perfect, it'd be like, oh, but the trains are quicker than the monorail. So you get to... Then it's the vehicle speed, but we're going to go down that argument. It's going to get a little bit too tasty. So they've been set up right now, which is easy enough to understand. Now becomes the other stuff. So, trams and then buses. So, trams, we need then for the trams, they have their very own roads. Or I could do the actual tram tracks, which would be a whole lot more easier. Now, we need to kind of set this up, and it needs its own depot as well. So this is going to be interesting. This is going to be really interesting. So if I set it up first, that we have, right, first I'm underground. Let's get out of underground mode right now. So the stations start, well, one starts there, that one starts there. If I just bring it out by 3 to begin, or 5. If I brought that out by 5, that out by 5s. So I just want to play around with a few different designs, because I've got to make up the length. So if I came out by... Right, so if I do a... it ain't going to work like that. It really is not going to work like that. So maybe if I went... Because then, yeah, 10 by 10 bend like that. And then a 10 by 10 bend like that. Then it's the same distance, but that's a tram line, so pedestrians can't walk on it. And then we set up this road here by being what it is. And then the same over here. Let me delete this. Bam, like that. But because this is trams, we kind of have to then do something like this. Because they got to do a little U-turn. But that doesn't affect going from point A to point B, because once they get onto the tram, they only go around this on a turning circle. So they'll kind of... Well, that's actually a good point. Because they've got to go back out, don't they? So maybe I... See, this is where now... Because they're coming down to here. They get off people there. Then they pick people up. And they've got to go up, round, and round that way. And that wouldn't really work. So I think that's just the downside of being on a tram, isn't it? But then again, you could argue with the trams. If I did that, you could argue that these guys have to go into a building or into a thingy, then walk to the train line or the metro line. Whereas here, you just have to wait on the side of the road. So to kind of compensate for that little distance that they have to walk to get onto their vehicle, they have to go in a little U-turn there. Right, yeah, we could argue that. We could argue that. So we now also have to build something that allows us to attach the trams to this stuff, which is kind of annoying. So can I... Right, what I'll do is I'll upgrade this road there. Because it's got to be attached to a road. Right, bring that down to here. You know, just simply like this. So we connected. And I'll do then with the rail system like that. There we go. Simple, easy. Okay, so we have a stop. And we'll put the stop there. To there. And then back. So that extra little spin round that they've got to do on a tram is going to equate for them walking into here, going down the stairs, getting to the side of the platform that they need to get onto, walk into the building, getting to the platform that they need to get onto. So that's kind of what we kind of mimicking in many ways. So that is now done. It's then just the buses. So we need to do the same kind of system here, don't we, really? So we need to set it up where it's just a bus lane, right? Is there such thing as a bus lane? Just a bus lane? There should be. Hang on, let me go to public transport. Yes, there is. But we don't want pedestrians on there. Do we really? Now that's going to be the interesting part. But I've got an idea for what we can do about that. So if I do 10 by 10 bend like normal. Now it's going to be quite interesting to do the thingy, because I know pedestrians can probably walk on this. Nothing really much I can do about that. I've also got to make the little UE for these guys as well, don't I? So if I just do that there. Oh, is that gonna annoy us now that I can't stick it? Right, there we go. Do it there. Fine. I'll upgrade these to bus roads as well, so we don't get caught up or anything like that. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah. So the bus depot can need its own bus road as well. So can we not build on a bus depot road? Apparently not. Okay. Did not know that. So I'll upgrade that to a normal road. Am I on normal road? Yeah. Alright, bring that slightly out. And then bus depot. Throw that there. Just so I can build now my bus line. So here to here and back. Simple, mate. Simple. So without going back into play mode then, I've tried to make the distances as equal as possible. I really, really have. Now, my only thought process is now then, I might still need to add an extra one on the end, because these might claim the reaps of the rewards. But then again, if they prefer to go on maybe one of these systems, that's just how the cookie crumbles. So we'll just say I've tried to make it as even as possible. I don't know if I have or not, but I've tried to be as even as I can. Not favour one mode more than the other. Would you say that's kind of something that shows that it pays off? I don't know. I don't know if I have or not. But I've tried my best, guys. I've tried my best. So this is where it now legit happens. So let me just make sure that these buildings have got water. Yes, they have. How are we on power? We're good for power. And now it's just a case of pressing the play button. So press the play button. It's all now going to happen. And then we're ultimately going to see who chooses what over everyone else. So I can see people scattering for the train line. Not so many people going for the metro, which is interesting. There's a few people waiting for the trams, but they come thick and fast. Okay. And for the buses, there's a lot of people going there as well. So I wonder what's going to happen. Now, I know we've set it up like this. It's meant to be buses only, but it looks like we're getting all different types of vehicles using this. How does that even work, really? Vehicle restrictions. It is nothing but buses. There we go. And do people... Okay, so I don't think people are walking down these roads, which is interesting. Because what I was going to do is halfway through, upgrade one of the roads to be a highway type of road. Oh, they don't have power. Yeah, upgrade it to be like a highway style road. That way... Is that enough? That way I could have made sure that nobody can walk down it. But we seem to be doing alright for the most part. But it might be that the train could be winning this battle. Now, is that because you could then argue it all then comes down to vehicle speeds? They pick it based off... Yeah, I could maybe walk to the bus stop and get on a bus, but if I walk to the train station, the train gets me there quicker because it can travel at a higher speed. Is that then the logic of the citizens, the residents? It quite possibly could be. It quite possibly could be. But we'll give it plenty of time and see what happens. But I do have a little trick up my sleeve to get more people using it. I really do. So, see how this ticks along. Right, let's have another little glance before I actually go look at the figures. So, the amount of people walking in to the train station, there is a lot of people. There's a lot of activity over there. There is not so much activity here. Now, considering that the metro line has a radius of everyone around there and even up to here, whereas that radius kind of stops at this point. There's a lot more people using the train line. I would even argue there's more people using trams than the metro system. And for buses, even more people using buses than the metro system. That's interesting. That really is interesting. Okay. Now, I wonder why that would be. Now, is it because when you visually see where the line is, it's a little bit further over to the left of the train line? So you could say maybe that the line length is bigger by 1 or 2 studs. But then that argument gets made redundant pretty quick, because then you could say, well, yeah, the train line is a shorter distance than the metro, technically by 1 or 2 studs, but the bus and the tram are longer ones because they do the same distance as the metro, which actually they stick over further, so they're even longer, and then they have this little circle bit that they gotta go around. So that the metro's shorter than the bus and tram, but people are choosing that over the metro line. That's interesting. Right, let's officially see the figures of public transport now time has passed by, because the figures could tell a completely different story. So, and they actually do. They actually do. So we got 444 people a week using public transport. 168 are using buses. 170 now using buses. 100 using trams. Only 18 using the metro. And 166 using trains. So as it stands right now, the numbers are consistently changing. There is more people using buses than any other form of public transport. So it goes buses, train, trams, metro. What? Honestly, guys, I would have thought metro would have been the one. Now, I would have thought metro would have been the one, but also because metro and the tram, these two here, have a better radius of collecting people from the residential area. Because obviously someone living here and living over here can quite easily walk to the middle too, but obviously they've got to go past these two. That's interesting. And you can argue then, well, they're not going to the metro because they have, it's quicker to walk to the train station. But then, what about the argument for the trams? They could walk past the buses to get to the... Well, if they walk past the buses, they might as well just get on the buses. But there's 100 people using that. Wow, I'm so shocked. I am shocked that out of all these four, they barely choosing to use the metro line. That's really surprised me. Because I've built a lot of cities that have a solid metro line. Now I'm thinking, well, using these other... And now again, this is just based off 4 modes. I could do an experiment that contains every single line of public transport and we actually see what happens. I'm really surprised. I would have thought it'd been metro. So yeah, officially it's buses, trams... No, buses, train, tram, metro out of these 4. Now, I've got a trick up my sleeve to get more people to use it. And that will involve, if we have, yes, putting down the space elevator, because that brings a lot of tourists in. That will obviously go to the shopping area. Now, we need to make sure that we don't favour or prioritise one transport system over the other. So I got to do this methodically. So let's say I came out by 30. Right, came out by 30, did that to there. Now that is centralized between everything, right? Let me pause. That is centralized between everything. So if I place this down again dead center just like that, all we then got to do is make it, when they come out of the space elevator and they walk, we're going to make it even to each area. So we got to do a little bit of math right now. So to get to, so let's say I do it on the, we do it on the left-hand side of these 2. Because I'm thinking about these roads that go up and those roads here. So do it on the 2 left-hand sides there and then the 2 right-hand sides here. So from this point here, so the left-hand side there is 42. From that point there, it's 42. So to get to these 2 here, which would be the left side there. Well, actually, I could do the right side and the left side there. It doesn't really matter. So from the joints there, it's 42. So I pretty much have to make it 42 studs to get to one of these points. So how I could do it is, if I went by 21, which is about there, yeah? 21. That there is 16. That's 21. Oh, snap. Okay, hold on. Is that 21? Yeah. Right. And that lines up to there. So no matter which way you go, left or right, and no matter which one system you want to get to here, 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 or here, the 4 points from the space elevator, no matter which one you choose, it's 21 studs. So then you could literally argue it's the same distance to get to each 4 of these studs, right? Which then all you've got to do is walk down there, walk down there, walk down there. The same amount of studs, 30 studs to get to each junction of each public transport system. That is fair. I couldn't have made that any more fair if I tried. I literally couldn't have done that any better. So that's a there, which that should be power, yes. And now we're back into play mode. So now we wait for the space elevator to kick in. Right. Oh wait, that's the fusion power plant. I placed down the wrong one. This is the space elevator. Right, bam, there we go. I was about to say, I didn't know the space elevator made power. Right, there we go. Bam, bam, bam. And then that's got power. We'll then start seeing eventually everyone trickle out of this. So people arrive, they start working. And then any minute now, I might have to place some stuff down to give them more tourist options. Right, let me see what I can do over here real quick. So what we'll do is we'll do a little bit more commercial right now. So if I go bam, bam, bam there in those little gaps, that provides a bit more. Has that sparked any yes? No? There is people coming out. We just don't really have enough tourism at the minute. Oh, there we go. People are... Okay, a lot more people came out there. So if they come out like that in spurts, it doesn't really matter which way they go right now. But as long as we got that coming in, I was expecting hundreds of people to come out there, but that weren't going to happen. It's just enough, right, to add a few more people onto the public transportation lines. So yeah, every so often it trickles out a few more people. But let's see if I can do anything here to bring more people over. So I need like an attraction of some kind. So why don't I Okay, next to each school, bam, bam, and then bam, bam there. As part of tourism, we got 4 spaced out. Does that bring a few more people? Yeah, up to 70. Okay, we've gone from 4 to 79 a week being served there. So that definitely pumped out a load more people. And you can see they are going left and right. So they are going left and right. You get some people turning down to go here. So that's fair. That is quite fair right now. And what's it looking right now then? So it's a lot more people going into the train station, looking good. Not so many for the metro. Still a fair few people waiting for the trams. And a fair few people waiting for the buses. Wow. Okay. And what are these complaining about? Not enough workers? Yeah. You can never win. You can never win. So why don't I place down a few more workers then? Like fill the gaps up in between. Let me pause. Delete that. There we go. And then the outer gap's just there. So again, it's as even as we can potentially make it. Bringing more people in right now. So public transport at this point. What we saying? What we saying? So we have increased the numbers slightly. We're now putting tourists onto the lines, which is interesting. So 17 tourists a week, and they're choosing the train line and the bus route, which is still the outer ones. Okay. Okay. The train line is getting close to catching up the bus line. So bus and passenger trains are the big winners, followed by trams. Metro not so much. Metro not so much. Now, is it because they're on the outer side? I don't know. I don't know if that is the case. I don't know whether because they come more frequently that it works like that. I don't know whether it's the fact that they're more approachable in terms of the game's functionality. Buses and passenger trains are... In most towns and cities, you have bus lines and passenger trains. Not every town has a metro, so maybe you need a higher capacity city to kind of benefit from it. Same goes for the trams. We're just kind of catching the trams on an awkward stage. I don't know what it is, but I've tried to make this experiment as even as possible. But by the looks of it, it's buses and it's passenger trains that they're choosing. But out of all of it, it's buses. Now, my next argument could be made with the lines. What if I had more buses on the line? So if I extend the bus line up to adding 2 more vehicles, if I extend the tram line to having 2... No, not saying it's going to carry more people. We're going to have an increase, whatever. But if I increase the amount of vehicles on each line, now for the metro and the train line, I'll add an additional vehicle only. Right. There we go. And we'll see how that then changes it. Now, granted, we are going to be able to carry more people and whatnot. Now, I've done more on the trams on the buses because they are lower capacity compared to the other ones. So this is now consistently going back and forth. Now, haven't got to wait as long now at a station. How does that then change it slightly? So, right. Time is passing by. More and more people are being shipped from one side to the other. To the point where we still have only tourists only using the train and the buses. We are still, at this moment in time, have more people on the buses. Then it's the trains. Then it's the trams. Interesting. It is really, really interesting. So, what's the outcome? Officially, I do not know. I still do not know. But what I do know is they prefer the buses and the trains. Now, you can make many arguments and say, is it something to do with the fact that they're on the outer side of the of this little system? I don't know. But if you guys want to see me do another experiment where I combined all forms of public transportation, Let me know in the comment section down below if there's something that I didn't quite do well, or you guys maybe think I could make it more even. Let me know in the comment section as well. But that's interesting. That really is. So until next time, guys, I'll see you all soon. So goodbye.